Progress.
It's Friday, and it's not just any Friday. This is June 2nd. This is our birthday. Happy birthday to us. There are cupcakes and ice cream. It's a real party. And this is our 110th anniversary of the signing of our charter right here. We'll touch on that a little bit more in a few minutes. For now, let's get started with our invocation led by Chris Nettles, owner of Haven of Purpose Child Care Center. The national anthem will be played by Henry Borbola, Vice President of Sierra Bank.
Thank you. Let us pray. Father and eternal God, before we ask you for anything, we want to first thank you for everything. Thank you for life, breath, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We thank you for this gathering, allowing men and women to come together, like-minded people, to discuss and communicate with each other. We ask you to be in this room, give us your grace and your mercy. We ask you to bless these United States of America, and especially bless the city of Fort Worth. We ask you to bless each and every entrepreneur and business, that it will flourish and thrive through this city and through this nation. Bless this food that we have received and about to receive. Let it be nourished to our bodies, and bless the hands that have prepared it. This is our prayer. This is our plea. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. And now Dr. Joe Michaels, Managing Principal Solomon Bruce, he's going to help me welcome our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Thank you, Madam President. What a privilege and pleasure it is to have as many folks as we do here today for our Rotary Club meeting. We have several guests, and we're honored that they're with us. Christina Struman is here with Brad Nolan. Christina, stand up. Layla Kasha came with Ryan Drozdik. John Wright brought Courtney Owens. We are very fortunate to have a very prominent Fort Worthian here with us who knows what's going on in the business community in Fort Worth, and that's Bob Francis. And Bob came with Jared Sloan. Bob? Evan Eastman brings Sterling Hunter. Sterling? Mike Brown brought Luke Brunell. Luke? And Elliot Goldman brought Alex Adant. Alex? Madam President, those are all of our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Thank you, Joe. And welcome to those of you who may be watching via Zoom from your home, your office, wherever you may be in the world, and especially welcome to our guests and visitors here in the room. Now, we also have a special sponsor today we'd like to thank, Telshower Telshaw Johnson Law, PLLC, is an experienced law firm in Fort Worth that helps individuals and families prepare for the future. Their attorneys know that life has unexpected obstacles, and it is their goal to give you the knowledge and tools needed to secure your future and protect your legacy through estate planning, support, and education. Telshaw Johnson Law was founded on this day in 2013. Would you all join me in extending to our fellow Rotarian Karen and her firm our best wishes and happy 10th anniversary? Thank you for sponsoring, Karen. And now, as is our tradition, we will recite the four-way test together. Number 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And now, without further ado, take notes. It's time for the newscast. And we have one of the masters coming. This is how it's done. Come on up. We've got past President Fernando Costa, Assistant City Manager, City of Fort Worth.
Thank you very much. This is starting to feel like the time I wore a Molly pin to give a talk in Oklahoma. It got ugly, but this isn't about my feelings, this is about the news of the week. So here we go. In business news, United Airlines announced this week that it will be providing T-Mobile customers with free Wi-Fi on all flights. Yes, and Spirit announced that its planes will fly real close to United's. So you'll be able to Microsoft announced that it will be holding a webinar called The Future of Work with AI. It's a little scary, though, because none of the executives can remember organizing it. Honda is recalling more than 30,000 vehicles due to a serious defect in their side view mirror. Evidently, all objects in the mirror are exactly as close as they appear. And IKEA announced the other day that it'll be opening 8 new stores around the country this year. Or more likely, we'll start to build them, get frustrated, and give up. In science news, an article in the Journal of the American Medical Association says that trained dogs can help detect COVID infections in schools. Cats can too, but they just won't. Dr. Anthony Fauci has reportedly sold his memoir for close to $5 million. He won't be narrating the audiobook, though, because he knows that nobody ever listens to him. A post-COVID study has found that American school children missed about 35% of a normal year's worth of learning during the pandemic. When they learned about it, the children said, "Wow, that's more than half a year." And according to a recent survey, an estimated 44 million American adults are experiencing significant loneliness, which may explain why so many wanted to take the survey. On the crime front, authorities in New Jersey recently arrested a 29-year-old woman for presenting a fake birth certificate while attempting to enroll in high school. Teachers knew that something was wrong when it seemed that she wanted to be there. Police in California have arrested a man who allegedly burglarized several optometry offices. Witnesses described the subject as somewhere between 4 and 8 feet tall and very blurry. And a Florida city council member was arrested this week after authorities found 10 pounds of cocaine in his shoe. Police first became suspicious when they saw someone in Florida wearing shoes. In politics, President Biden is counting on this week's bipartisan debt ceiling deal to boost his campaign for re-election. Demographers say that if he's successful, he'll be the oldest man. Well, that's it, just the oldest man. President Biden met recently with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Biden was surprised to learn, however, that it was all one person and not 4 soccer players. In a top aide, the Republican presidential candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy, said last week that he'd be polling in 2nd or 3rd place by the end of this year. And that may have been true, until, of course, a 4th person entered the race. In lifestyle news, voters in Oklahoma have rejected a ballot measure to legalize recreational marijuana. Yes, apparently time already moves slowly enough in Oklahoma. Meanwhile, legislators in Connecticut have authorized the sale of recreational cannabis, where it'll be smoked by the only people who actually call it cannabis. By the way, doctors there have warned pot smokers not to think too hard about the word Connecticut. In offbeat news, an owl was recently removed from the library of a college in Georgia. The owl is doing well, but it keeps saying, whom? And according to a press release from College Station, a team of Aggie scientists recently made 2 big discoveries. First, they went to the Canary Islands and found no canaries there. Inspired by that experience, they then went to the Virgin Islands and made a similar finding. No canaries there either. The weather this weekend should be seasonal with highs in the 80s and lows around 70. Regardless of the forecast, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. Until we meet again, may the good Lord hold you in the palm of his hand. Have a great weekend.
Always well done, and there you have it, the news that matters most. We even had some airline news in honor of our speaker. Now, as you know, we've been celebrating our 110th anniversary, and today is, again, our 110th birthday, the day our charter was signed. There are actually several special dates, so we can go ahead and celebrate all of them. The idea and plan for our club was conceived on February 24th, 2013. That's when 12 individuals met along with Lewis Plunkett from the Dallas Rotary Club to plan our club. But our charter certificate, again, right here, is dated June 2nd, 1913, and then we held our first official club meeting on June 28th. 2013. Then, in one of those interesting and mysterious twists of history, I learned from Rotary International that, in actuality, records indicate that our charter date in their historic club charter is actually July 1st of 1913. Things get complicated. We're going to stick with June 2nd. But upon research, they informed me that in April 1913, the board of directors had decided to issue newly designed charter certificates to clubs that had already affiliated. And our application was in process, and we were somehow prematurely or accidentally included in the list of already affiliated clubs. So we still have paperwork in process that they sent me that's dated, post-dated after June 2nd, and our application otherwise continued in process. I'm not sure if we ever actually received a July 1 charter. That will forever remain a Rotary mystery. But nonetheless, today is we're gonna celebrate. Happy birthday to us. I invite you to come look at this beautiful charter. It otherwise lives in our office in Suite 305. Now, a few announcements. As we approach our new Rotary year, everyone is invited to attend District Governor Pat Peters' installation dinner. I'm sure you don't want to miss this. It's Saturday, June 24th in Decatur from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Decatur Conference Center. Tickets are $35 each. I'll be there. I bet President-elect Kirk may be there. Larry Anthony and Karen, usually I may or may not see. I'd love to have some other guests. Biannual due statements were mailed out last week, so your dues are now due. Please try to have them paid by July 1st. Electronic invoices will be going out shortly. Also, we encourage every member to make a donation to our club endowment. We have 3 funds, as you know, and when you make a minimum $100 donation every 6 months with our due cycle, you get a gold name label in your badge. It's a coveted gold name label. And I'm not sure that some of our newer members in particular may realize that. Also, it is traditional in our club that one of the qualifications for board service, to be nominated to serve on the board, is that you contribute at least in some way to our endowment. And so this has always been the case. It's been particularly added into our last bylaws revision. And so I'm just touching upon it because I will be seeking board nominees in a few months. So per the bylaws on the first page, there are 7 qualifications for board nomination, and number 5 reads as follows: must have demonstrated financial support of the club and/or charitable funds beyond the minimum membership dues and lunch requirements. So there you have it. And then speaking of the district, there is a tight district membership competition underway. Our district is currently ranked number 3 out of 23 districts in our zone, and the race is on. You likely received an email from District Membership Chair Peter Scott yesterday pushing us to bring on new members prior to June 30th. So help out if you can. And then also, as we approach the end of our Rotary year, the fiscal year, and Kirk's new year will start technically July 1. Please send me and Aurora some of your favorite candid photos. We've been collecting them all year, but I'm sure there are many that are in your camera. And if you wouldn't mind just sending us the ones that have good lighting, clean them up a bit, and we will use them in a special year in celebration. And coming up, there should be a slide coming up. There is a special event coming up at I Am Terrell called Uniting Voices, the inaugural Juneteenth Museum Speaker Series. It's going to be held on Thursday, June 15th. Tickets are $25. The VIP tickets are $100, but they've already sold out. Hear from Brian Stevenson, a Harvard-trained attorney whose life's work is pursuing justice for the marginalized in society, or as he puts it, the importance of pursuing injustice. He has won relief for dozens of condemned prisoners, argued 5 times before the Supreme Court, and won national acclaim fighting for justice and challenging bias against the poor and people of color. His story is featured in a New York Times bestseller and the 2019 Jamie Foxx movie, Just Mercy. This presentation is part of the inaugural Juneteenth Museum Speaker Series and will be held again at I Am Terrell. The Juneteenth Museum, of course, Miss Opal Lee is an honorary member of our club, which is part of why we're mentioning this. The Juneteenth Museum will feature 50,000 square feet of museum space, a business incubator, food hall for local chefs, a 250-seat theater, and a flexible black box performance area. And there are some artist renderings on the screen. And then proceeding to a few more slides, you know, our Rotary International Convention just wrapped up in Melbourne, Australia. I had a few pictures. Thank you, Larry Anfin. He's my roving photographer. He and Karen and Kirk Driver were there. I'm not sure if anybody else attended. But you may notice that Leslie Oliver, one of our prior club members who moved, they managed to meet up halfway around the world. So that was a great photo. And then also President Kirk Driver attended, and I think he brought something back for us. Come on up, Kirk. Koala bear.
Actually, no. Kangaroos are considered a pest there, but you're not allowed to hunt them. But they're kind of like the wild hogs around here. They eat up crops and stuff. It's pretty wild. But I did go to the convention. It was wonderful. And I have 2 flags for our club. The first one actually was not at the convention. Did a food and wine tour and ended up on a bus with their president-elect for Wasilla, Alaska Sunrise Club. Wasilla, Alaska is famous for former Governor Sarah Palin. That's her home of record. So there's that. And the second one I actually met a lady at the Large Club Conference last fall. And she is the president-elect for Rotary One, the original Rotary Club in Chicago, Illinois. We met again at this convention and exchanged flags. So I have a Rotary One flag for you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Well done. Well done. He brought home two special flags to add to our collection. And now, to move along, Bill Fairley, Fairley Wealth Management, has a special announcement regarding World Blood Donor Day, which is coming up on June 14th.
Thank you, President Sean. June 14th is World Blood Donor Day. We have partnered with Carter Blood Care again this year for our annual blood drive. The blood donor van will be available in Burnett Park at 501 West 7th Street from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Wednesday, June the 14th. Sign up for a time slot by scanning the QR code on your screen. Walk-ins are welcome, but appointments are preferred. We have 30 time slots to fill, so bring your friends, whether they want to come or not. The whole process takes about 40 minutes and excuse me, as a special incentive, in addition to potentially helping to save a life, Carter Blood Care is doing a special promotion on World Blood Donor Day. Each donor will receive a scratch-off card for a chance to win bonus points, Visa and Target gift cards, a Yeti cooler, or 2 Southwest airline tickets. If you have any questions, please email Becky Fetty at beckyf@dfwi.org. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. For some of our newer members, you may not be aware that this is very much a Rotary tradition and a Rotary International endorsed initiative. The Red Cross, just as one blood bank, requires 12,000 blood and 3,000 platelet donors daily, just to meet the need for over 2,500 hospitals across the US. During COVID, you may recall that the blood banks were drastically low, alarmingly low. Things are somewhat stable, but they dip frequently. So once again, we do participate in conjunction with Rotary International, building a global network of Rotary donors. And now James Emmons, a partner with Seton Hill. It seems like last year, but it was really just a few weeks ago. We had our fabulous Crazy Pants golf tournament. There he comes. I think we have some photos that we're going to recap. It was a fabulous event, a great day, and the golf pro was impressive.
Yeah. Thank you all. Just wanted to kind of give you guys an update a little bit on our conclusion of our Crazy Pants Open. You can see all our wonderful sponsors there on the screen. We included some photos there to kind of give you guys a little bit of a flavor, I like to call it, of what went on at the golf tournament. It was held out at Ridgely Country Club, South Course, and hopefully you can see that there was a lot of fun being had by all. So there was the Renfro's hot sauce was well received as well. So there's one of our winning teams, I think. Number third place maybe, but please pay attention. Look at that. Boy, they were just having a bunch of fun. Anyway, just thought I'd announce that and let y'all know that we had 25 teams play, which was obviously 100 players, but we had a few extras too that came upon us for the event in the evening for the long drive contest that we were demonstrating. A lot of fun. Go back to that photo if you can, that last one. Now that is the Crazy Pants Open right there, right? That is the Autobahn group. So I believe there he is, yeah. Anyway, they really made the highlights from the standpoint of color standout. How about that? I especially like the bucket hats. So anyway, they are our poster kids for the Crazy Pants Open. I thought I'd mention the top three. Everybody was really a winner that came and attended and participated. So, but the top three teams here at that time, Lindbeck Construction, Truist Bank, and Postel Group. So several of our Rotary members in those groups, so, and one I think soon to be. So we had a great time, and one of the major things we had as a goal going into this was to try to set the tone for this to be an annual event, which it has been for years under the tutelage of David Campbell, who's really started kind of going this thing on a routine. But we wanted this to be a Fort Worth Rotary event for everybody to come and have fun and enjoy the time and the fellowship. And this year, I think we achieved it. So we welcome you to come back again next year. And again, thanks to all our sponsors. But I want to mention one thing real quick that's important, I think, and that is I had a great committee. When this thing first started, I went around to several people. Courtney was one, a few others, and said, listen, I love to play golf, and I just want to volunteer to help, right? So I kept talking to people, but nobody came and said, when are we going to get this together? And they said, well, we thought you were going to do it. So I got to be the chairman this year, but I have a few other people in mind for next year. But either way, it couldn't have been done without the committee. It's not a one-man show, it's a group. So I want to mention Courtney Lewis, David Campbell, Blair Hancock, Jason Ellis, Austin Spinney, Matt Sylvia, Dr. Joe Michaels, and Ashley LeCamp. All participated, all brought a lot of value to the group and the tournament. So they were really indispensable people. Several of those people you already know. So without them, we couldn't have pulled it off. Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Appreciate it very much.
Very well done. Thank you, James Emmons and committee. And now we have 7 first readings, and we have current Vice President, but President nominee and Principal of Montgomery, GR, Rebecca Montgomery, to read our first readings.
Thank you, President Sean. Good afternoon, everyone. As Sean said, we have 7 first readings today, so I'm going to have to ask your help on some of this. Our first reading is Daniel Pullen. Daniel is the president of Texas Christian University. Classification, higher education. Proposer, President Sean Snell. Our second first reading is Nicole Upton. Nicole is CEO and managing broker of Upton Real Estate. Classification, real estate, residential. Proposer, Jim Austin. Our third first reading is Travis Haynes. Travis is AVP Commercial Banker with Truist Bank. Classification, Financial Services. Proposer, Past President David Campbell. What number are we on?
2.
Our fourth first reading is Ernest Carradine. Ernest is COO of Human Interactive Technologies. Classification, Digital Transformations. Proposer, Jared Sloan. Our fifth first reading is Cheryl Gillihan. Cheryl is a CEO and co-owner of Cause Labs. Classification, Web Services. Proposer, Richard Knight. Cheryl is a 2023 Rotary Minority Business Award winner. Our sixth first reading is Rosa Berdea. Rosa is principal attorney of the law office of Rosa Maria Berdea. Classification, legal. Proposer, Richard Knight. And Rosa is a 2023 Rotary Minority Business Award winner. Go, Richard. Our final and seventh first reading of the day is Corey Hurd. Corey is the CEO of Human Interactive Technologies. Classification, digital transformations. Proposer, Jared Sloan. If no written objections are received in the Rotary office by Friday, June the 9th, these proposals will be given second readings and voted on by the club. Thank you.
Way to go. We love those new members. Keep them coming. Speaking of new members, we have new member intros. If I could have the three pairs, please approach the stage just for expediency. Terrence Butler, proposer Victor Neal, you're on stage. On deck is Zoran Gudic, proposer Natalie Wilkins, and Ruth Marquez, proposer Akua and Yanful. Victor. Thank you for bringing us tonight.
Oh, absolutely, thank you. Thank you, President. So I'm excited to introduce our newest member, or one of our newest members, Mr. Terrence Butler. And for those of you who don't already know Terrence, you will soon enough. Currently, Terrence is the Vice President of Development at Academy 4. Academy 4 connects churches to schools and communities through mentoring fourth graders in leadership. Academy 4 provides a mentor for every fourth grader in the 40 Title I schools they serve. A little background, Terrence is a grandson of the Reverend R.M. and Ressie English, who moved to Como in the 1950s and raised 9 children and helped establish 2 churches in the neighborhood, which means they were really busy. Dr. English and his wife, Ressie, stressed the importance of education with their children and grandchildren and were significant role models in Terrence's life. And this is, wow, Mrs. English lived to be 106 years old, right? In 2009, Terrence helped open Hope Farm Como as their assistant director. Through his work at Hope Farm and his time as a board member for River Tree Academy, Terrence gained experience in working with schools, parents, volunteers, and most importantly, the children. He stepped down from the River Tree Board of Directors in 2014 and accepted the position of executive director for the new school, which opened in 2015. And 3 years ago, in 2020, Terrence accepted his new position with Academy 4. So please help me welcome Mr. Terrence Butler.
Thank you, Victor. I'll be brief. Victor said I needed to say something witty, so happy birthday. You don't look 110 years old. And lastly, if you decide to sell this charter, I have a good friend, Elliot Goldman. Please give him first right of refusal. But I say those things in jest. I'm ready to roll my sleeves up and get involved. I've been around downtown Rotary for several years, and now it's time to come aboard and get busy. Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed, it's about time, and we're thrilled to have him. Now, Zorik, tell us about, oh, no, Natalie Wilkins. You're going to tell us about Zoran. Zoran's been here so long, I thought he was a member.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy birthday, Rotary. So I had the pleasure of meeting Zoran a few months ago through my boss, Rick Merrill, and I've learned a lot about Zoran, but what I didn't know is he has fantastic taste in crazy pants. So there we go. He's incredibly interesting and will bring a lot to the club. He was born in Croatia and grew up there and in Germany. He also spent a year doing international police duty in the Balkans. A few other things about Zoran: he's been in Fort Worth for over 25 years, previously served for the Fort Worth Sheriff's Department before getting into cars. To say he loves cars is an understatement. He's currently the general manager for Porsche at Autobahn and loves Formula One racing, specifically Formula One. Lastly, he joined Rotary because he enjoys Fort Worth so much and wants to be a part of making our community even better and brighter for the future. Welcome, Zoran.
Thanks, Natalie. Thank you, guys. Happy birthday, 110 years. Wow, great. They give me only 2 minutes, I'm in car business, I can talk forever, Let me tell you something. We came in 1997 in this country, and I remember like yesterday, we went to the United States Embassy, and the guy over there, we got the interview, of course, and he said, you're gonna have like different shock when you go to the United States. It's a different country, different world. I didn't realize that until we came here like a couple of weeks after that. I'm drinking the first beer party with my wife's company. The guy came to me and said, how you feel? I said, I feel okay. He said, what do you mean? I said, how many beers you got so far? I said, oh, this is like 6 or 7. I said, you're not drunk? I said, probably you never tasted German beer, man. This is this is like water, you know, I'm gonna wash the hands. And I have a really cultural shock when I came here, not just with the beer, I mean with the cars. You guys drive so slow, like 60 miles an hour. It's like, come on, you know. Going down to Econ, my wife said, why are you driving so fast? I said, honey, I'm going only like 100 kilometers an hour. And she said, no, dummy, this is miles. You have to slow down. Anyway, I'm really honored to be here. There's lots of our clients from Audubon. Stop texting me, please, Carlo. I mean, you know, I just text all the time. I'm really honorable. I love the city. I love the community. We feel like home here. And I'm current position at Audubon Porsche, and Brandon and I, we're going to do the best to do the business with the community and Audubon. I think we're going to go to the next level right now. Like I said, I'm really honorable. I love it to be here. I'm feel like home. And thank you for everything. And let's go work together. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Zoran has been a regular attendee, so he's been here a while. And now, Akua and Yanfo to introduce Ruth Marquez.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to read this because it's not lengthy, but I'll read it. Ruth was born in Philadelphia. With her dad passing away at the early age of 3 years old, she was raised by her single mom with 4 other siblings. Ruth grew up very poor, basically on government resources and in a real strict religious sect where there was very little room for grace. Even at a young age, Ruth felt that there was more and wanted more out of life. So education was her way out. She had an inner desire to succeed in spite of the fact that she had no one to look up to. Because the most educated person in her life at that time was actually the pastor's daughter, who happened to be a secretary. And knowing Ruth, she looked at the lady and thought it was the epitome and the best career path for her, so she ended up becoming a secretary, only to find out that it wasn't her calling, right? So later on, she left and then became a teacher, teaching English as a second language, GED classes, professional development for adults, and basic computer skills. Her love for teaching and her childhood experience was what actually inspired her to pursue a career in early childhood education. At this stage in her life, Ruth has become a single mother herself, raising 2 sons, working and going to school full time, basically. Her desire for change for her circumstances and to provide something better for her sons is what led her on a career path as a structural package designer, which, by the way, was self-taught because she practically taught herself everything. She learned Adobe Suites and interviewed for a job as a graphic artist, but she was told she needed a degree. So being always the person that she is, self-taught, determined, she spent the weekend creating 6 different designs and went back to the company on Monday to prove to them that she's qualified for the position and has the capabilities to do the job. So Ruth ended up working for SIG Kobe Block Group. This is a company active in the packaging industry, and she worked as a graphic designer and lived briefly in Germany, training and learning the company's systems and processes. She later left the company to start her own graphic art and t-shirt printing business, and afterwards, in her need for change, she actually moved back to Puerto Rico. Well, she wasn't born in Puerto Rico, but her family was, where she taught English as a second language and basic computer skills to high school students. She also met her husband, Eddie, in Puerto Rico, and they later moved to Texas in 2015. Ruth has always had an entrepreneurial heart. And in 1999, at age 24, she actually received the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award for beating the odds as a young Latina female starting her own graphic design business. Currently, Ruth has a cleaning business called For the Love of Clean. She's also the CEO of Eat and 8 Soiree, which focuses on helping people find and maintain healthy relationships. Ruth is passionate about helping domestic survivors and encouraging them to be better versions of themselves and have the courage and confidence to walk away from unhealthy situations. She looks forward to being a vital part of this club and to help wherever we need and whatever is needed. On that note, I introduce you to Ruth McCaff.
Well, that was a heck of a resume. I'm so proud and happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I speak 2 languages fluently and know a little bit of German, and I'm currently becoming fluent in Italian. Interesting? No, not really. I know. How about if I told you that when I was only 4 years old, I got meningitis and lost my ability to speak? My stuttering was so bad that my face would twist just to say the word "and." My older sister said just one thing to me: sound out the word in your mind, then practice saying it. I got it right away. By the time I was 6 years old, I was not only fluent in Spanish and English, I had also lost my debilitating speech impediment. This is the power of human resilience. If a 4-year-old can achieve the impossible, so can you.
What an amazing story. Without further ado, we have so many exciting things going on today. It's time to get to our program. Ronnie Spellman, President, Southern US Planet Magpie IT Consulting Services, to tell us more.
Great, thanks, President Sean. So a few weeks ago, I reached out to Gary Kelly. I thought it'd be great to have Southwest Airlines come, and he introduced me to Ron Green. Ron Green serves as Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer for Southwest Airlines. He's a 20-year veteran with Southwest and a graduate of Texas A&M. Please join me in welcoming Ron.
Hello, thank you guys for having me here, and it's nice to be on this side of the Metroplex. Obviously, we're a Dallas-based company. It's been our home. Southwest has been our home for 52 years now, but as I was telling Sean earlier, this is actually my favorite side of the Metroplex. I just live and work on the other side, so. And happy birthday to you all. Congratulations, 110 years is a fantastic achievement and milestone. I'm gonna run through, I have some slides here. I'm gonna run through them pretty quick. I know you guys like to stay on a schedule here and make sure we get out on time. But what I thought I would do is just talk about a little bit about who we are as a company, for those of you that aren't familiar, and some things that we're focused on kind of in the next 5 years here in making some improvements in the customer experience and how we're going to market. So let's see if this works. I may just have to have you got me? Okay. Next slide. So Southwest Airlines is a company that we could define ourselves several ways. Next slide. We're a large logistics company. We fly 130 million customers a year. We serve 120 destinations. We're a really big company that takes people from point A to point B. We're also a very large e-commerce business, but that's not the way we think about ourselves. We think about ourselves as a customer service business that just happens to fly airplanes, and really that was what the company was founded on 52 years ago, and you can see the quote there on the screen from Colleen Barrett, who was one of the founders of Southwest, and she's credited with our culture. And it all starts, next slide, it all starts with the people that we hire. We have about 70,000 employees across the United States, and we hire people who want to serve. And that's just, it's been that way for a long, long time. And I think that that's why we get credit. You know, we mess up along the way occasionally, just like everybody does, but we have employees who have empathy and want to serve and are lean towards the customer to solve problems when, you know, things go bump in the night. So that's our focus, and that's where everything starts. And on the next slide, we really have mapped out a value system that we expect of ourselves and we expect of our employees. And we make promises to our employees to provide a stable work environment, a place where they can be themselves, but we set expectations on how we want our employees to show up, and we ask them to make a promise back to us, and you can see that promise there in on the bottom of the screen, and ask them to treat others in the workplace like they would want to be treated, to show up every day, to work hard. And so this is how we kind of instill in our employees exactly how we want them to show up every day. Next slide. So where are we headed and what are we working on? So when Bob Jordan became CEO about a year ago, we were just coming out of the pandemic. The pandemic was really hard on everyone in the country. Airlines, it was rough for airlines. People weren't traveling. The people who were traveling hated masks, hated mask mandates, hated, everything about it. And our employees had a really rough go. And so we started at the top to reinvigorate our company culture, and we're focused on that. Nothing was broken, it just needed a boost. Our employees have been through a lot and needed a boost. You'll note the one there in red, I think, where it says modernize the operation. Obviously, that was set in place, and that was one of our priorities prior to operational disruption at Christmas that unfortunately got a lot of headlines. But that has been a focus for us, and the operational disruption, if anything, has just accelerated our focus and our investment there. As Chief Commercial Officer, I'm responsible for the revenue for the company, and so that blue, winning more customers and growing revenue, that's where I and my team are focused, and we're trying to do that several ways. One, we grew during the pandemic. We added 18 new markets during the pandemic, expanded our service to Hawaii, and we're the largest airline now in 21 of the top 50 markets. So we're growing, we're taking aircraft, we're taking about 90 airplanes from Boeing this year, and we'll do that again next year. And so we're putting those aircraft back into the communities that we serve. And on the next slide, we're also working on some improvements here just to make the travel experience better. Flexibility became much more important during the pandemic in people's lives, and certainly in the way in which they want to travel. We already had a very flexible, customer-friendly policies, bags fly free, no change fees, no cancel fees, but we've doubled down on flexibility. I'll show you some of that. We're enhancing the in-flight experience. If anybody's been frustrated by in-flight Wi-Fi, raise your hand. I think everybody probably has. We're working on that. We're making service improvements. We're trying to put more control in customers' hands and allow them to do things on their mobile device so they don't have to wait in line to talk to an agent at the airport or to wait on hold to talk to somebody. And then we're investing in Southwest in making it easier to do business with for business travel. That's an area that we have not historically played in. We've been primarily a leisure-based carrier, but we're working on growing and expanding into managed business, corporate travel, and to serve customers like you and your organizations. So next slide here. These are just some of the things that we've launched here recently that is focused on flexibility. Again, we have very customer-friendly policies, the most friendly policies in the industry, but we've added a couple of things here recently that double down on that. One of those is that flight credits don't expire. So if you cancel your flight, life happens, something gets in the way, not only are we not going to charge you a change or a cancel fee, because your plans had to change, but you now have unlimited time to use those funds from that flight. They used to have a year's expiration date from the time that you booked the ticket, and we've removed the expiration date just to give ultimate flexibility to you there. We've also rolled out a new fare product. Want to Get Away is our least expensive fare. Some of our competitors take things away, like if you buy the cheapest fare, it's use it or lose it, or you have to check a bag or pay to bring your carry-on on board. We didn't do that, but we added flexible benefits if you are interested in paying $20, $30 more. You can transfer travel funds if you have to cancel your ticket when you buy that. You can change your flight, same day change with that fare. So we're just doubling down on flexibility. It's more important to consumers, and we think it's the right thing to do. On the next slide, these are in-flight experience enhancements. We're upgrading the hardware on our aircraft to provide a better Wi-Fi experience. The hardware had been old, it was unreliable. We're about 80% of the way done with the fleet on those upgrades. We'll be done this summer. So that's big. We're adding larger overhead bins on board. We want to be the best at bags fly free, but these larger bins allow for 50% more bags on the flight, which means for you all, less gate-checked bags, less delays. You can get out and we can get the flight moving on time. And then we're also adding power on board all of our new aircraft, which is everybody, if you sit down in front of a power outlet today, people just plug in their phones. It's like human nature. So we're adding USB-A and USB-C on those seat backs. Next slide is the service improvements. We're going to allow you, we're already adding more and more features. These are rolling out monthly on your mobile device so that you can do more things on your own. Upcoming, kind of next up, the ability to track your bag. Once you check your bag, we'll treat it just like FedEx, and you'll know exactly where it is when we've loaded it on the plane, when we've unloaded it, where your inbound flight is coming from. So we've got more and more features rolling out here just to make the travel experience better. And then I'll try and wrap up here and leave time for any questions that anybody has. If you want to run to the last slide, as I mentioned, we're focused on business travel and making it easier to do business with us if you're traveling for business. And this was something that we were not invested in at all 4 or 5 years ago. We were always 4th out of 4th among our legacy airline competitors. And recently, in a key survey among corporate travel managers, we've moved up the rung in the product that we're developing and that we're building for business travel. We're up to number 2. We're on Delta's heels, and we won't give up until we get to the top there. And we've made inroads. We're growing our market share in the managed business space. You can see back in 2018 timeframe, that red, that's Southwest, that's our market share in the managed business space. We had nothing, and we're chipping away at it, and we now have 11% market share. So we still have a ways to go, but we're making inroads there, and so we're excited about that. So I ran through that pretty quick. I want to make sure, be respectful of your time, and I know you guys like to get out of here on time, but I think I probably have a minute or two for questions if anybody has them. Yes, sir.
Well, it's my understanding that American has outsourced a lot of services, and that outsourcing has caused different problems. But where's Southwest encountering its problems?
In terms of service delivery? I think, so we do not outsource very much of our staff at the airports at all. It's only in our very, very small cities. The rest of our employees are all employees of Southwest Airlines. We've trained them. They follow our customer service policy. I think probably where our challenges lie from a service perspective, we need to get more information in our employees and customers' hands. Airlines are built on really old legacy technology, and it's just, and a lot of times that just does not allow for the type of service interaction that we want to have with customers and that customers are used to in other elements of their lives. Bag tracking is a perfect example of that. Today, you know where your package is from a FedEx truck. You know when your driver is around the corner. Why can we not tell a customer exactly where their bag is? They expect that because of things, how they interact with other brands. In a lot of cases, it's just really old legacy technology that we're working to get all that replaced so that we can serve our customers better. Yes, sir.
You all have always, of course, been Gulfville and Dallas, and Fort Worth is a huge market all by itself. A lot of us love going over, driving, the flexibility, the price point, the fast flight free. Have you ever given consideration to Beecham Airport or Sphinx Airport with all the growth on the south and west side of Fort Worth?
Yeah. So question, if you couldn't hear it, have we ever, Fort Worth is a big city in and of itself, have we ever given thought to serving Fort Worth? There is a lot of history and drama around the Wright Amendment and Love Field that we could talk about for a long time. We finally got that thing repealed in 2006. We could not start flying differently from Love Field until 2014, and there is a provision in that Love Field agreement that sunsets at the end of 2024. And that provision says that if Southwest were to expand to any other DFW airport, we would have to give up gates at Love Field. Of course, we don't want to do that. And Dallas is our home. We do really well at Love Field, but that provision sunsets in 2024. If we're going to grow in the DFW Metroplex, which we are and which we want to do, Love Field is constrained at 20 gates, and so we'll have to explore other options, which we're doing, as you would expect. And so no announcements here today, but if we're going to grow in DFW, we got to grow elsewhere, so. Yes, ma'am.
How do you see the high-speed rail from Dallas to Houston impacting Southwest?
High-speed rail and what its impact is. There's high-speed rail has a long history of a lot of promises and very little actually comes to fruition. That's been talked about between the Dallas-Houston corridor. There is something underway in Florida. It's talked about in California. And of course, those are all big markets of ours. It's just very, very expensive to build the high-speed rail. And they run into funding issues. And it's what has kind of prevented high-speed rail from taking off. So we watch it very closely. It obviously would be a competitor of ours that we'd have to be mindful of. We would have to compete with it, and we'd compete very vigorously. But it's just one of those things that it's been, high-speed rail has just been hard to get off the ground because of how expensive it is. Y'all tell me when you want me to wrap up here. There was one question back there. Yes, sir. Like I said, I don't have any announcements here today, but if we were going to grow in the Metroplex, we'd have to grow somewhere other than Love Field. All right, thank you guys very much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, Ryan. We also have a heart for service. You guys sound a lot like Rotarians because we know Southwest Airlines is also fun. Fun.
Yep.
And who doesn't love bags fly free? It is a tradition of the Rotary Club of Fort Worth that we make a donation in the name of each of our program speakers, and a donation has been made in your honor to the Rotary International Polio Fund, and this is a memento of that donation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
Appreciate
being
it.
here
Yeah,
with
thank
us.
you.
You know, here at Rotary, we love a scoop, and you almost heard it here first. We're excited about some kind of expansion after 2024. And now, thank you all for being here. It is a very special milestone, our 110th anniversary of our charter signing. I want to thank our sponsor once again. Telshall Johnson Law, PLLC, is an experienced law firm in Fort Worth that helps individuals and families prepare for the future. Their attorneys know that life has unexpected obstacles, and it is their goal to give you the knowledge and tools needed to secure your future and protect your legacy through estate planning, support, and education. Telshall Johnson Law was founded on this day in 2013. Would you all once again join me in extending to our fellow Rotarian Karen and her firm best wishes and happy 10th anniversary? Now, in keeping with Rotary's spirit of peace building, let's continue our meeting conclusion as we do with a moment of peace. These words by Brian Stevenson, who encourages us all to confront injustice and our own biases, which in the end fosters peace. He once again is the speaker who will be at I Am Terrell on June 15th. He says, "The true measure of our character is how we treat the poor, the disfavored, the accused, the incarcerated, and the condemned. We have a choice. We can embrace our humanness, which means embracing our broken natures and the compassion that remains our best hope for healing. Or we can deny our brokenness, forswear compassion, and as a result, deny our own humanity. Next week, you want to be here, bring friends, bring guests. We have the 3 congresspersons. We have Kay Granger, current chair of the House Appropriations Committee and a fellow Rotarian. We have Honorable Roger Williams, chair of the Small Business Committee and a fellow Rotarian. We have Jake Elsie, who also sits on the House Appropriations Committee. And Dr. Opal Lee may stop by. She, of course, is also an honorary member of our club. So we'll see. This meeting is adjourned. Don't forget your cupcakes.